Hello everyone, John Pyron, and I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar. I have been looking forward to this webinar all week long, and I got to tell you the response, ever since I posted the announcement for the content, it's just blown up. I cannot believe the response I've gotten just from, I've only put this out on Facebook and LinkedIn. I haven't even sent this out to my email list, and the response has been incredible. So I would imagine it's the topic, which is how to make LinkedIn a lead generating machine. And so on today's webinar, myself and Penny Pearl are going to tag team. Penny is the featured speaker because she is an absolute expert when it comes to LinkedIn. Penny's the founder of Bear to Bull Coaching, and her main focus is to help people generate leads on LinkedIn and how to master that tool to build your business. My name is John Pyron, and I'm the CEO and president of John Pyron Coaching. I'm a master business builder. I'm a master sales trainer. I get to spend every single day of my waking hour helping other business owners make money. That's what I do. It's just a passion that I've had. I've discovered that that's my natural gift and talent over this last year. And having built multiple companies into the millions of dollar ranges and selling them and building lots of sales teams, I get to do that on a daily basis with about 29 other of my clients spread across the United States. And so I'm not going to get into a lot about me today. What I want to do is spend some time on certain goals. And so I've got some very specific goals laid out for today. And number one is we're going to talk about the mindset of a champion, how to have the proper mindset as it relates to lead generation. Next, and Penny is going to do a rock solid job on this, is how to create unlimited leads using LinkedIn. Number three is we're going to talk about 5 hidden ways that you can stand out on LinkedIn. Because if you think about it, if you've ever been to a concert, I want you to imagine that you're at an outdoor concert and there's 25, 30,000 people in the stadium and the lights are out and the only lights that are on are the ones on stage and the band is playing and everything's happening. And if you've ever been to a live concert, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now what I want you to do is picture all the lights go on in the stadium. And instead of the band being on stage, let's put your prospect on stage, your target prospect on that stage. And the lights are on in the stadium and they're looking out on the crowd. Well, how are they going to notice you out of 25,000 other people that do what you do? And Penny is going to go through 5 hidden ways on how you can stand out in that crowd so they notice you and they want to do business with you. And so the main thing is identifying your target audience and making sure that your LinkedIn profile is specifically designed to attract and become a magnet to your target audience. So a little bit about me. My background. If you want to find out more about me, just go to my website. It's johnpyron.com, or you can text me at 916-765-2596. There's always going to be free resources on there. We're doing a bunch of website redesign this summer. It will always have content that you can immediately benefit from, whether you and I ever talk or not. I'm a big fan of delivering standalone content that provides value. And you should take that strategy and do it with your own customers, and you're going to be amazed at how many more leads you can get. I want you to know that with the information Penny and I are going to share on today's webinar, that it's possible that you're going to experience a breakthrough in your mindset as it results to lead generation using LinkedIn. I don't know what your background is with LinkedIn. I don't even know if you're using LinkedIn. But I know most people, it's one of the most unutilized assets on the web today. And the content we're going to share with you is going to help create that breakthrough for you. So if you came here looking for a breakthrough, you're in the right place. We have 2 outcomes for the webinar today. Number 1 is we're going to share with you some great ideas that you can implement immediately after this webinar that will help you generate more leads. Next, myself and Penny, we're going to offer you some tools that can help you out now. And we're going to do that at the very end of the webinar. So sit back and relax because we're going to go into hyperdrive now as we're going to share with you some content that you can really benefit from. And so whip out a notepad. Before I get started, I want to encourage you to go over to the Facebook group, the Facebook event that's up there today, and post your biggest takeaways from today's webinar. So let's hop into it. I've been in sales about 23 years. I've been number 1 in sales in the 2 companies that I've worked for. I built 3 very successful companies. The last one I built it into $1 million company and created systems in place that ran that business where at the end of the day when I sold it, I was only having to spend about 5 hours a week of my time maintaining that company. And what I discovered out of 23 years of being in sales, out of over 10 years being a business owner, one of the things I've discovered is there's basically 3 ways to increase your results. Whether you want to increase your sales results, whether you want to increase your business results, whether it's your health, your relationship with the people that are the most important to you, no matter what you want to increase, there's basically 3 ways to do it that work every single time. It's just like the law of gravity. You can argue with the law of gravity all day long, but if you step off the roof of a house, you're going to hit the ground. And if you don't accomplish these 3 things, it's almost impossible to have dramatic increase in results. You can have incremental increase, but if you want consistent increase in results, it comes down to 3 things. And the number 1 thing is the inner game. The inner game has to do with mindset, our attitudes, how we show up. You know, what is our attitude about things? Or do we have a positive attitude? See, positive attitude won't put any money in the bank for you, but it will make it a lot easier to put money in the bank for you. Finally, you got to have a really good, solid outer game. You got to have systems in place that run your business. You have to have systems in place to grow spiritually. You have to have systems in place to grow in your health. You have to have systems in place to have a stronger marriage. I'll give you an example of an outer game. I've been married 18 years to my best friend. And I can tell you after 18 years, there's been highs and there's been lows. And there's been everything in between. But one of the systems that we've put in place in our marriage to have a better, stronger marriage is no matter what's going on in our lives, every Saturday night at 5:30, we get together and we go on a date night. We implemented that after the 2nd year of marriage. There are times where I'm absolutely ticked off at her and vice versa, but we still go out at 5:30 on Saturday night. We don't argue with that. And as a result now, we've been married for 18 years. And so that would be an example of a system. And then finally, you can have the best mindset on the planet. I mean, you can be, Michael Jordan. You can have the best systems on the planet. You can have velocity down like a Michael Dell. But if you don't get your butt to take action on a daily basis, nothing else matters. And I don't know about you, but I don't wake up every morning playing at a level 10. I don't get up in the morning and go, man, I just want to go out and do it, man. Oh my God, let's go. No, I mean, there are days I wake up, I don't want to go do it. But I have certain systems in place that help me get my mindset right. I have other systems in place that force me to take action. And here's the number one secret in sales and in business. The key is to getting yourself to take action whether you like it or not. Most of the time, what separates a successful person from somebody who's not successful is that they do the things that need to be done even when they don't want to do them. And that's your first golden nugget on the webinar today. There's a good video out there. Go on YouTube and look up Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins. And she has a video there that is a TED Talk, TED, TED Talk, about a 23-minute video. One of the best videos I've ever seen about, you know what? She solves the problem on that video. It's like, hey, she gives you some practical applications of what you can do to take action on a daily basis and feel good about it. All right, let's hop into the content. Okay, so let's talk about the inner game. And we can't talk about the inner game without talking about mindset. And one of the mindsets of a champion is that there's always room to grow. How many of you on the webinar today agree with that statement? And if we were in a room and I could physically see you, I could tell you from hundreds of talks I've done in the front of the room, almost all the hands go up. But here's another question for you. How many of you believe that you have potential inside of you right now to perform at a higher level than the level you've been performing at? And again, if we were in the auditorium and I was watching you, every single hand would go up, including mine, because we all have potential to perform at a higher level than the level we're currently performing at. It's called being human. There's always room to grow. One of the greatest stories I've ever heard about mindset is about this man, the great Michael Jordan. For those of you that are not familiar with Michael Jordan was the #1 basketball player during the time he was playing and is going to go down in history as the best basketball player of all times. He did 3 repeats back-to-back. He got 6 championship rings. And one of the things about Michael Jordan that made him so great wasn't the fact that he was born as an exceptionally talented athlete, which is definitely true. In order to even play in the NBA, you have to be a great athlete. So it wasn't the fact that he was a great athlete. It wasn't the fact that he was exceptionally born as a great athlete. But it was his mindset. It was his constant desire to always want to get better. And one of the true stories about Michael Jordan is every single off season, he would hire a coach, he would work with some trainers, and he would focus on one aspect of his game. And so one summer, he would focus on his left hand. And that's all he would do the entire summer is focus on his left hand. Then he would go back and play an entire season, and guess what? He would be so much better at his left hand during that season than he ever had been before. And then the next summer, he would work with some additional coaches and some additional trainers that were specialists in the area of weightlifting, of working out, of strength training. And all he did that entire summer was work on his strength training. And it was that discipline, it was that laser focus of not pointing out 15 things that he needed to work on, because we all have lots of things that we can improve on. But what Michael Jordan did is he focused on one thing and absolutely mastered it. Did he do it by himself? Absolutely not. He worked with a coach, he worked with a mentor, and you know what? If you're not working with a coach, If you're not working with a mentor, find one. Right now, I only have one available slot left, and it's being held until next week. And that slot's going to be filled. So I've got a full coaching practice. If you want to coach with me, I'll be more than happy to give you a free coaching session, but it may be several months before we can engage. If you are serious about it, I'll give you a free coaching session, and then I'll identify a coach for you and give you a recommendation. Okay, so kind of a side note there. But really it comes down to this question. That's Michael Jordan. He did it, fantastic, good for him. But what about you and I? What is your one thing? What is that one thing that you've been putting on, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? What is that one thing that you've been putting off because it's either you're too scared to deal with it, it's too uncomfortable to deal with it, it's outside your comfort zone, you just don't want to face it? You know the one thing I'm talking about that's holding you back right now. And if you literally just focused on getting better in that one area, it would make all the difference in the world. Maybe it's your attitude. Maybe it's you making phone calls. Maybe it's a system that needs to be improved. Maybe it's the way you show up in your relationship with your spouse, if you're married, or your significant other. I know for me, my one thing right now, the thing I am absolutely laser focused on is how I treat my wife. How I show up in my marriage as a husband. This time last year, August of 2013, I was playing at a .5. We were 3 weeks away from being legally divorced because I was a jerk. A true story. And through a series of events, I woke up and I decided, you know what? The only reason our marriage sucks is because I've been playing at a .5 for a long time. And I'm about to lose my best friend, somebody I've been married to for 17 years. And I am done. And I went out and I confessed it to my wife. I begged her to let me cancel the divorce. I begged her to let me, engage. And I said, you know what, baby? If you give me this opportunity, I promise I will connect with a mentor. I will go seek a counselor. I will do whatever it takes to prove to you that I love you and I care about you and that I can be a better husband. Will you give me that shot? And she said yes. Thank God she said yes. I immediately called my buddy Dave Vanny and I said, dude, I suck as a husband, man. Can you and I meet on a regular basis? Can you hold me accountable? Can you help me become a better husband? And I watched Dave over the last 23 years transform into the person he is today. He's a phenomenal husband. And I wanted to coach with somebody who had the fruit on the tree. That's your number one tip when hiring a coach. Make sure that they can coach you from an experience standpoint. And so I didn't have to hire Dave. Fortunately, he's been my friend for a long time, but we do meet at 5:30 every Thursday night in Elk Grove at a Starbucks, and I hold myself accountable to him. And, he's constantly checking in with my wife because his wife and my wife are really good friends. And I can tell you right now, man, I'm at a level 7. I finally graduated this month to a level 7, and I'm fired up. I'm fired up because, we've been married 18 years, but this is not about me. This is about you. You and I both know there's one thing you've been holding off on, that if you just worked with somebody and you laser focused on it, your life could be transformed. Let me give you something that will help you out with that. Go out and get this book. This is a book a friend of mine, Jesse Garcia, gave to my wife, Shin May, about 6 months ago. My wife is looking to get her real estate license, and Jesse is an absolute stud when it comes to coaching real estate people. And he gave this book to my wife, and it sat on a shelf, and I stole it from my wife, so don't tell her I said that. But I read this book, and I couldn't put it down, and it helped me laser focus on the one thing in that whole concept. And that book will help you out as well. All right, so that's the inner game. Let's talk about the outer game. And we can't talk about the outer game with really understanding how the outer game impacts us on a daily basis. And so, give you an example. In order to really make it, right, in order to really be solid, to be real, and to make it work, you got to have a good solid inner game. You got to have a good solid outer game. And when you combine the two, when you have good systems in place that are rock solid, when you have a good inner game that's real, you can have a totally cool, what's called a natural game. In other words, you can have peace because everything works together. And so that's why the outer game is so important. So let me give you a strategy now that you can do on a regular basis to develop a solid outer game. And it's called baseline strategy. So back in 1992, Clark Broom taught me this strategy, and it's called baseline strategy. I remember we were at the Heritage Inn on Harding Boulevard in Roseville, California. I was involved in the network marketing thing at the time, and at the time he taught me a principle of sitting down every single month and drawing a line and taking an inventory. What happened this past month? What happened in terms of my business? What happened in terms of my personal relationships, my finance, my family, my health? Drawing a line and taking a baseline. And so baseline strategy works like this. Let's measure money. Let's say that over the last 30 days, you earned $5,000. Well, your baseline would be $5,000. What's also included in your baseline is every single thing that you did to earn the $5,000. The phone calls you made, the appointment settings, appointments that you set, the appointments that you ran, it's everything. And the strategy is simply this. Keep doing what you've been doing because it's producing a positive result. And then what you want to do through mentoring, through coaching, is you want to add something to your baseline. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, a guy named John Ryan, he's out of Greensboro, North Carolina. John hired me as his coach about 4 months ago. He's a trainer. And he wanted to increase his coaching clients and increase his speaking engagements. And so right away we did a baseline with John, and I got an exact idea of where he was at, and then I gave him about 15 different things that he could add to his baseline to get more appointments, to get more coaching clients, to get more engagement. So we added a marketing touch system. We made the website better. We created a couple of lead generation systems. And as a result, he increased his business over 300% over the last 4 months. The next thing you can do with your baseline is you can subtract something from your baseline. You can subtract something that's not working. Next, you can modify something in your baseline. Maybe it's not working. Maybe you can make a modification to make it better. Let's focus today, though, on how to add something to your baseline. And there's basically 3 key systems to grow any business. Number 1 is lead generation, having lead generation systems in place. And I teach people to have 10 lead generation systems running simultaneously at all times. I learned that from my mentor, Eric Lofholm. Next is to have appointment setting systems. When you have a lead, to have a system in place that you can systematically walk a prospect through to set an appointment. Next is to have a systematic process for taking that appointment and converting it into a sale. You got to have these 3 key systems running in your business in order to really succeed. And one of the things that we do in my own trainer program and my own coaching practice is I help people master these 3 systems. Today, I'm fired up because Penny is going to teach us one of the most rock-solid lead generation systems I've ever seen in my life. I spent a little bit of time with Penny. She gave me a free coaching session. That's how this whole thing came about. She gave me a free coaching session. She was referred to me by Rebecca Richards from ULink, and I met with Penny on the phone, and she gave me a free coaching session. I thought my profile was rock solid. And during the coaching session, she says, well, yeah, I love your picture. I love the fact you got a great picture and your tagline. Here's some improvements we can make on the tagline. Here's some improvements we can make at the very top there. And I was so proud of my summary because, I'm like, man, I got a rock solid summary. And she looks at the summary. She goes, there's no way for people to get a hold of you in there. And I'm like, oh, my God, I felt defeated. I'm like, well, what do I do? She's like, well, I can help you create what's called a fire-breathing profile. And I'm like, okay, well, help me do that. Well, that's not for free. I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. And so I got to tell you, I decided that, you know what, I made some of the changes that she told me to make on the free coaching session. I got it as far as I can. And I don't know if she's going to go into my profile today or not, but there's some improvements that need to be made. I thought I had a great profile, but I'm going to hire Penny as my coach, and she's going to take care of it for me. And so Penny is the founder of Bear to Bull Coaching. She helps people with lead generation and sales how to become a networking expert on LinkedIn. She is an International Coaching Federation trained coach. She's certified. She's an entrepreneur and business owner. And here to talk to us today about her system, let's welcome to the stage Penny Pearl.
Hi, John. Hello, everybody out there. Congratulations on deciding to learn more about how to use LinkedIn as a way to generate leads, customers who are going to buy your products and services. So thanks for a great introduction, John. And I also wanted to say I was chomping at the bit. You're a great motivator. Chomping at the bit to share with everybody some of the key words and key ideas, concepts, such as staying very focused and making sure that you apply your skills to your outer game. And LinkedIn is certainly a big, big component in your outer game as it pertains to networking and closing new clients. So I'm going to show you how to improve your outer game using LinkedIn to generate leads. And I'm really going to focus on how to maintain simplicity as you do that. So hopefully I can accomplish that. And the reason I share that with you regarding simplicity is because I looked back at all the different social platforms, and that also includes physical social networking. And there's a lot of time all of us spend on activity, learning how to do it, meeting new people, which is certainly important. But really, when you look back, how many clients have actually purchased from you as a result of your social networking activity? And this is where we're going to focus on in LinkedIn. And it's important to keep it simple. I used to spend a lot of time going through presentations and showing people how to navigate LinkedIn and all the functionality that was available, but found that the best way to teach people how to generate leads using LinkedIn is to focus on those specific features and functions and systems that are going to increase the number of leads that are in your funnel. And that's what I'll show you today. The one area that I want to share with you is how to learn those new systems that can help you increase your connection, increase your audience that you're speaking to within the social platform called LinkedIn. And I'm going to take this opportunity to identify connections. because I get a lot of questions about that. There are multiple degrees of connections that you have, and certainly you want to be careful about who you connect to, but quantity of connections is very important because the number of people that you are connected to directly has their own network, which then becomes your network. So the more connections you have, the bigger your audience for marketing your products and services is. So there's a first degree connection, and those are people that have invited you to be a connection. The second degree is anybody they're connected to. The third degree is one removed from a second degree connection, like a third cousin. And then group connection would be anybody that you are connected to in a group of similar interests. So you might belong, if you're in the healthcare or healthcare field, you would probably be associated with multiple groups that have discussions about the healthcare industry. All of those people are your group connections, and they're all part of your audience. The idea here is to try to bring as many qualified leads, qualified connections into your first degree, because that's going to be your audience. The second area that we're going to focus on is having a profile that attracts people so that when they enter keywords, your profile is going to come up for being an expert in your field. So the other professionals on LinkedIn are going to find you very easily because your profile is fire breathing. It says exactly what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for. And then finally, the third area we're going to cover is the secret ways to communicate so that you can draw more people to your profile and also communicate with them so that they want to move from a lead to a client. Now, a lot of you have decided that it's time to learn how to do more than just networking on LinkedIn. I'm sure there's a group of you out there. In addition, there are probably some people out there who've kind of been toying with LinkedIn. Maybe you've been using Facebook a lot and you're realizing that LinkedIn might be a platform that would produce better results for you. So I wanted to share this statistic with you because it's surprising to a lot of people. There are millions of other professionals on LinkedIn who are decision makers, VPs of corporations, directors, CEOs, who are waiting to find your profile so that they can buy your products and services. Those are your clients, those are the leads, and the idea here is for you to attract them to your profile, and then also for them not only to come to you, but then you also reach out. Decision makers, professionals, high-level decision makers are putting their profiles on LinkedIn. So it is a professional networking platform, and it's very different from the way you're going to be using Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Another area that's going to be very important is for you to be seen, and again, you do that through a fire-breathing profile. But when you have that profile that attracts clients, it makes you visible. And when people see you, then that's where the opportunity arises. They have to know about you. And not only are they going to come to you, but I'm going to show you a system that makes it quick and automatic for you to actually visit them. There are multiple ways to share on LinkedIn, and one is to share your profile. The other is to share important content that your connections are going to be looking for. And there are ways to do that in LinkedIn using an update feature where you might share an article. It sends out to all of your connections. And there are ways to share via groups where you engage in group discussions. All of those things allow you to be visible to people that are in your network. However, I'm going to show you a tool that makes you visible in a very different way and very specifically with professionals that are in your target market. Probably one of the ways that you are prospecting now or used to prospecting is through cold calling, or you send out emails, newsletters, and there's a lot of talk about different techniques to enhance the number of opens you get of your emails or your newsletters, because all of us are really being bombarded all the time. So what happens is some of these traditional methods, although you still might want to use them, they may not be as effective as they used to be. You also might be prospecting through your network, through your Facebook, your LinkedIn account, and trying to connect and engage ultimately, which is what you want to do in order to fill your pipeline. So we're all out there trying to figure out what's the best way to do this, and how do I get to the people that really are going to buy what I have to sell. So these are some of the things that I'm going to show you on LinkedIn. And we're actually going to go into LinkedIn online, and I'll real-time demonstrate some of the changes and areas that you are going to want to make in order to make your profile fire-breathing, and then how to go out and prospect using that fire-breathing profile. So remember earlier I said to you I'm going to make this simple. Well, I thought a good demonstration of that is to not put anything on this slide about other than the 4 areas that we're going to focus on. First of all, for those of you who are serious about using LinkedIn as your primary source of leads, I would suggest you move into a premium account if you don't already have a premium account. And they can range anywhere from about $20 up to about $60. The things that you want to look for specifically are you want to be able to look at who's viewed your profile, and they have an account that has 300, 500, or 700 profile views. So you need to get one of those, because that is going to be a key feature that LinkedIn has you're going to be using in order to find your qualified target audience. The second is look at how many filters are provided on that account. That means how can you establish the criteria in order to do a search for your targeted account. So the more filters, like filters would include seniority level of your perfect client, the industry they're in, can you dictate what company name you want to search within. So those are some examples for you, and you want to have as many filter capabilities as you can in the account that you choose. The second is fire-breathing profile, and I think at the end of this webinar, you're going to know some of the basic components you have to use in order to be attractive to other professionals on the LinkedIn network, because I focus a lot on that. I'm going to teach you how to do an advanced search using those filters so that you can really hone in on those clients that are going to want your services. And really, it's going to focus a lot of the time that you have in your prospecting. And then I'm also going to show you a social selling tool and system that's going to automate a lot of lead finding using LinkedIn. It's really exciting, and I think it's going to blow you away when you see this, just like when I showed John. When I go out and I prospect, I use the social selling tool to help me find my qualified leads and engage with them. And I wanted to share this letter that I received from a client. He's now a client. He wasn't initially. That he voluntarily shared with me about how he felt about my communication with him. Hi, Penny. Thanks for connecting and great job leveraging LinkedIn. By the way, he's a director of demand generation for a corporation, and usually lead generation falls under demand generation, which is encompasses marketing and PR functions. He goes on to say, I hope you don't mind, but I shared your email with our sales team as an A+ example of social selling. Then he tells me he's going to be away for a week and asks me what is the best time to set an appointment. Well, I've already scheduled my appointment with him, and in that appointment, he bought the social selling tool because he immediately saw the benefit, not only to him, but also salespeople in leveraging LinkedIn to sell to their target audience. So it was great to meet up with somebody online, finally have a conversation, and then be able to show him a tool that he has been looking for. One of the features on LinkedIn is who's viewed your profile. And all of you at the end of this session are not only going to have a fire-breathing profile, but you're always going to be looked at who's looked at you. And I'll show you why this is such an important part of lead generation on LinkedIn. When you go into that tool on LinkedIn, you're going to see everybody that checked you out because you had a fire-breathing profile. And also, perhaps you visited them using the social selling tool. Ironically, and this is kind of funny, when I showed this to John, he pointed out the very first profile that you're looking at here was his wife. And who would have known? Talk about coincidence. So I thought that was kind of funny because I really didn't plan that. The other thing I wanted to point out is if you look here, this is what is going to show up when people look at who's viewed their profile as we would be doing here. So the stronger you have, the stronger the headline that you have in your profile, this is what's going to show up when other people look at you, and it's going to make them want to connect or move on to the next guy. So we're going to talk about how to make a really, really powerful headline so people are going to click the button to connect with you. This is an example of my profile, and I'm going to just point out some of the components here. The first is a picture. It is a professional headshot. It is not a Facebook picture. It's not blurry. It's not distorted. It's not a cartoon, and it's not a caricature. So I've had some people go through temper tantrums. They don't want to change their cartoons. But truly, if you are a professional and you want to get to decision makers who are also professionals, then you need to have a professional headshot. And it might mean you have to go to a professional photographer. So I can't emphasize this enough. I'm going to give you an example of how I moved away from a consultant because of her headshot. A consultant for webinars came highly recommended to me. She charged $500 an hour. And I wanted to check her out and see what she was doing, so I went onto her LinkedIn profile. She had a portrait there, which is similar to mine in that it took up most of the picture frame, but it was blurry. And I talked to her afterwards, and I asked her, why is your picture blurry on your LinkedIn profile? And she said, well, what I did is I scanned in a picture from a shot that I had taken earlier. So the end of it is I decided not to do business with her. And the reason was that at $500 an hour, she wasn't willing to invest in a professional image of herself. And I thought, it was a little bit risky. I wasn't going to take the chance in working with her. So something as what she perceived to be a small modification in her profile picture had a big effect in turning business away. And so I can't emphasize enough how much to focus on your picture. It does say 1,000 words. The second area to concentrate on is your headline, which is this area right here. And remember when I showed you before who's viewed your profile? Those first 46 characters are what's going to show up, and it's going to either create the desire to connect with you or people are going to move on. So for example, if you're a founder or an owner of a company, people aren't going to be looking for founders or owners. They're going to be looking for what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for. You also want to put your contact information in here like I have here. Now you're limited on characters, so you may have to try different headlines. You may not be able to put both your phone number and your email in there, but you should at least put one way to contact you in your headline. Make it very simple for the person who's looking at your headline. And focus on what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for. And we're going to take a look at, John, we are going to take a look at your profile later. The next area that I want to concentrate on in the tag card, which is this whole card, is you're going to be putting in the place you do business, not the place you sleep. So for example, I live in the Sacramento, or closer to the Sacramento area. Well, most of my business and most of my prospects are out of the San Francisco Bay Area. So that's where I put my location, because a lot of times people like to do business with locals. So that's what I have here, and you can make all these choices while you're editing your profile. This area over here is your current, your previous employment, and then your education. Now, these autofill from the experience that you list down below in your profile. And again, when we go on LinkedIn Live, I'll show you how to do that. But you can manipulate, depending upon how you fill the information in, the information that's in your current experience. So that's what I did here. And then when you go into the summary, you always want to make sure when you communicate in the summary that you have contact information, again, making it easy for people to contact you. You want a call to action. And finally, you want to make sure that you write it so that people understand what you can do for them. Not about all your experience, not about how great you are, but what can you do for them? Because those are the people that are going to want to connect to you. The next area we're going to cover is an advanced search. And the reason why this is important is because you're going to be able to use the filters that's on your LinkedIn Premium account to find the exact type of target customer that you want to look for. An advanced search would look like this. And up here is where you actually locate the advanced search. Here's an example of some of the filters that you're going to be able to use to find that exact customer. So in this one, I've got group members. I'm going to be looking for group members, and I might put keywords in here: sales, sales managers, VP of sales, because those are the types of professionals that I'm looking for to sell my LinkedIn lead generation programs. Once you indicate what your filters are, then you'll come up with your search results. And you'll get a list of everybody in your LinkedIn profile that meets those search criteria. And you can see I have 319 results right here. These are second-degree connections, group members, and I chose only employees of Oracle. I probably did sales managers, and oh, here I did VP of sales. So I could also put VP of sales, director of sales, sales managers, business development. So you can have multiple parts to your criteria. And you want to look at how many results you have. So here's my list, and the slow way to do this is to click on each profile and communicate, look at their profile and communicate with each person to see if they'll connect with you. I'm going to suggest you avoid this because this will send the this right here which says connect. This will send the standard LinkedIn message to them, and you don't want to do that. You want to personalize your message. So you need to go into each person's profile and then send them a message that you'd like to connect with them with something personal in it. Okay. So this is the slow way to do it. The fast way to do it is you're going to do an advanced search. You're going to get that list, and by using the social selling tool, and I'll show you how to do it live, you're going to come up with your list. You're going to tell your social selling tool to start visiting, and every profile that you have on your list from an advanced search is going to get a visit directly from your profile. You're going to touch everybody in that list. And then we'll go through, when we're on LinkedIn and the social selling tool, why that's going to bring those leads back to you. When those leads come back to you, they're double qualified. And the reason they're double qualified is because you created a qualified lead search. You brought up your list of LinkedIn leads, and then you are going to visit everybody on that lead list, and those people that come back to you, they're interested. They're either going to invite you to connect, or they saw enough about your profile where now they want to come and look at you. Using the social selling tool that can visit literally thousands of profiles a week, hundreds a day, and it does it automatically, you're going to get a lot of people that are going to come back and look at your profile. Generally, you can count on about 15% of those that you visited to come back and look at you. So today, if you go out and visit the profiles of 1,000 targeted leads on LinkedIn, then about 150 are going to come back to look at you. And your job is to reach out to those that you want to connect with, engage with, so that you can market your products and services. And that's the key. The key is once you've got your targeted audience inviting you to connect or accepting your invitation, then it's time to do your lead nurturing by engaging with them, telling them what you do and how you do it, and schedule an appointment to have a conversation with them. This is how I get my leads. I use my social selling tool after an advanced search. I schedule an appointment. I do a screen share, and that's where my sales are made. You can do that too with the right tools and with the right system. So again, your lead generation process using LinkedIn is to have an account that allows you to see 300, 500, or 700 profiles in your Who's Viewed Your Profile account, because that's going to tell you how many targeted leads you can follow up on using that feature. You're going to have a fire-breathing profile. You're going to do an advanced search so that you can use the social selling tool to visit all of those potential leads in your list that comes up after the advanced search. So it's really a very simple system. Now I'm going to exit from here, and I'm going to go to John's profile. And John, thank you for being so brave. I talked to John, as he indicated, and we were going through his profile, and he made some really good changes right up on top here. He talks about what he does and how he does it, and you can see it's very easy now to contact John. Now, John and my copywriter are going to work together so that we can improve some areas in his summary and the rest of his profile. One of the areas is the summary. You can see just by starting out, John, one of the things we need to work on is that you talk in third person, and I'm a believer in talking in first person because you want to have that personal touch with somebody who's reading your profile. Also, another is that you want to have calls to action and telephone numbers for people to reach you. But more than anything, you want to make sure you're communicating to your client about what you can do for them, not just about your experience and how successful you are, but how your success will bring success to bear on them too. And you don't really want it to read like a resume. You want it to read like a landing page. So John, you and I are going to work more on that when we do some coaching, and I'm going to help you to create a profile that more people are going to respond to, even though you've already seen dramatic results as a result of your new headline. So really good job with that. Now I'm going to take you to my profile, and we're going to go through some of the key areas. So now we're on LinkedIn Live, and you can see here I've got a profile headline right here. And I change my headline depending upon who I'm going to be targeting. What I usually do is once I create something, I open a Word document, and I copy and paste this into the Word document because I might use that headline again, and I don't want to have to keep recreating it. So if I'm going to be, right now I'm going to using this headline to sales managers and those that are directly involved in lead generation. However, if I wanted to target CFOs and tell them that I have a way to help them reduce the cost of sales so they don't have to buy lead lists, my headline may read something like, reduce your cost of sales. And then I might say, LinkedIn lead generation lists, so that they know that there's another way to get lead generation where they don't have to go out and buy lists. And then when I use my social selling tool in my advanced search, I'm going to be out there visiting the profiles of CFOs of companies and ultimately have conversations with them that allow them to buy into using the social selling tool as a way to generate leads for their sales force without having to buy lists, so they're saving money. You can see here on my profile, this is an updated profile from the one that I showed you in the slide, that I have, through making changes to my experience, under current, I have veritable coaching, business development, and market to your perfect clients. I don't just list the companies that I've worked for. And the way that I do that is I make some changes down in this area, which I can show you as we do our 30-minute profile coaching session, which is one of the offers that I'll be talking about later. I'll show you how to do that so that you can list your experiences, allowing it to show up differently in your tag card, which is what people are going to see first. So the previous experience is good. There's really not much manipulation you can do with that, or the education. Those are going to autofill based on the information that you fill down on the bottom there. And there are other areas that are really going to be important in your profile. They're going to include your endorsements, and there's a whole other discussion we could have about endorsements and the value that they bring to your profile. But I can tell you, just as a little hint, when you go onto somebody else's profile that you know, and you want to connect with people that they know, remember we're talking about building your connections, means building your audience, you can just hover over a picture and send a message to that individual to connect. Right now, Troy is a first-degree connection, but if he was a second-degree connection, this would allow me to connect to him by sending a message. Hi, Troy. We know Penny Pearl in common. My expertise is lead finding. Please connect with me. So this is a source of finding connections that already are connected to people that you know. And then I'm going to switch down here because I wanted to point out recommendations. Recommendations are really key in a profile because it validates your work, it validates the experience that you bring to your clients, and it also gives your potential customers a perspective of your capabilities. And for you, when you want to connect with somebody, the other thing that recommendations do is you can look to see what people are saying to your potential client and about them, so that when you are engaging with them, you can use some of that information in your engagement. Potential clients are always going to welcome information about them that's complimentary, and they're going to want to engage with you because of that, and B, they're going to want to engage with you because you took the time to learn more about them. So these are ways that you can continue your communication with potential clients. And these are areas that I cover when I do coaching sessions because overall they're important in really gaining a lot of value in how people are using LinkedIn in order to generate business from it. So those areas are the key areas that you want to focus on to create a fire-breathing profile. Your picture, and also you want to make your powerful headline stand out so people know exactly what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for. The next area that I wanted to cover with you is, let's go to advanced search. And I mentioned earlier in an advanced search, when you have a premium account, you have a lot of filters that you can use to generate a list of connections. And the way, right now, I'm at about 4 million results in this one, but I'm going to narrow this down. I'm going to go after second-degree connections, and you'll see it's going to modify the number to 566,000. And there are other areas that I can focus on. I can choose specific companies or add a particular company that I want to target in my search. I can select an industry. It might be the education, healthcare industry, computer software. I can also search within particular groups that I belong to, or a group that contains a lot of my prospective clients. The function would be, say, a sales function, business development function. You could see the list there. Seniority level, who are your decision makers? If your decision makers are usually directors or VPs, this is what you want to select. And all of these, company size, these are all going to affect the results of your search. That's an advanced search. And what's going to happen is you're going to have your list, like I mentioned earlier when we had the slides, of targeted customers based on the criteria you set. And you can go through the tedious process of clicking here, which I don't recommend because it does not allow you to send a personalized message, or opening every single profile and go through the connection process then with a tailored message that you want to send. But it's time consuming. How many can you do? So that's why going to this feature, Who's Viewed Your Profile, is going to allow you to communicate with prospects that have already visited you. And the way you do that is you go to this special social selling tool that I had mentioned earlier. So I'm gonna show you a social selling school by using this tool, and you can see that my account, my LinkedIn account, loads within this social selling tool, and I can perform my advanced search from here. I'm going to show you exactly how it works, and we're going to do those different search criteria. So I'm going to look for second-degree connections and group connections. I'm going to, right now it's going to go to all countries, but I want to do just the United States, or I can pick a specific geographic area, like New York, Chicago, San Francisco Bay Area. So say I want to search only within IBM, and then I want to do, for my clients, I want to do sales and probably business development, but I'm just going to leave it at sales right now. And then I want to choose a director and VP. So I'm going to try to get the number of visits. See how the number gets reduced based on who's in my network. I'm going to do CXO here. You can have an effect on the numbers just based on the criteria that you put in there. And say I want to do company size. I'm just going to wait for it to load. Okay, that's, say, 10,000. And this certainly isn't enough in my criteria, so I'm going to be adding maybe a couple of other companies that I want to search for. And let's say my third-degree connections and everyone else. So I'm at about 313 results, and this is the criteria that I've selected, and this is the list that I spoke about. Now, remember I talked about the tedious process of going to each individual profile and visiting them and asking for connection? Well, what I need to do is add this URL to my selling tool. I get a list of all the URLs. This is the URL up here. I have a list of all the URLs that I've done searches for. And then I just click Start Visiting and watch what happens. What this tool does is it goes to that URL and it's going to start visiting everybody that's on my list, and it touches them. So it's sending the information to the LinkedIn server, and it's going to send my profile out to look at my connections. So here's the first one. Not bad. He looks like he's going to be a really good prospect, and I bet you he's going to be one that comes back to my profile. Now, what's another great thing about this software tool is that it works in the background. So I can turn this on at night. I can now start doing other work. And all of the professionals that are in that list that I generated, they're all being visited. And what they're going to do in the morning is they're going to go to who's viewed your profile. They're going to see that I've visited them, and about 15% of them are going to go back and visit me. And that's where I make my connection. So, for example, Todd, he visited me yesterday. He's a VP of sales. I'm going to connect with him or ask for a connection. Now what I do is I'm going to select colleague, the company that I work for, and as you can see, I put lead generation at Veritable so he knows what my function is. Now, I have template messages that I use, and I'm going to go to my template messages, and I'm going to send a message to him to invite him to connect. So now you're limited in your connection requests to a certain number of characters. And when you do this, don't forget to change the name because it's really embarrassing when you don't. And I know this one's a little bit long, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit. And what I do is I thank him for looking at my profile and ask him for the connection, tell him what my expertise is, and that's just the beginning because now I'm going to send that invitation. That's the beginning because when he comes back and connects with me, I immediately send him that follow-up message. The follow-up message to engage, to ask for a screen share, an appointment over the telephone or face-to-face. So that's where you begin your engagement. And since everything is automated and you have your template messages, it makes it very simple to market to your qualified, targeted leads and engage with them. Now, when I invite somebody to connect from my targeted audience, which comes out of who's viewed your profile, I am getting 100% hit on people wanting to connect with me. Then when I send my second message out to engage in a conversation, which you need to do right away because if you wait days, they're not going to remember you. But as soon as they say they want to connect, you want to connect back. You want to send your follow-up message, look at their profile if you want to, find out more about what they do, use some of the words from their profile, and then tell them what you do and how you can help them, and then ask them to schedule an appointment with you. Of course, you need to do this without being too salesy because that is not what really works on LinkedIn. What really works on LinkedIn is being resources for each other. And certainly if you have a product that is a resource for your client and getting to know them and the fact that they can be a referral, you're resources for each other. So this is how I find my leads. And most of this activity is done automatically. So that's all being done by this social selling tool. So see, I was off doing another application, and here it's talking about how many connections it's visiting, depending upon the URL that's in here. So it's doing my work for me. And this is just such a great tool because You've already selected who you wanted to visit. You go to who's viewed your profile. 15 to 20% of the people that you visited are going to come back to you. You see what they do. I mean, hopefully you get so many leads coming back to you, you get to pick and choose who it is that you want to connect with. If somebody is a volunteer at the local YMCA who found your profile, you're not necessarily going to want to connect with them because they're not part of your target audience. And I'm going to reiterate, this is why your headline is so important, because your clients are making those exact same decisions. So now I'm going to go back to the slides that I had, and I want to show you how we can package all of this together. So you've got your premium LinkedIn account that you get that allows you to see 300, 500, or 700 profiles when you go to who's viewed your profile. You want to do your fire-breathing profile. I showed you how to do an advanced search, and then I showed you the social selling tool. And there are offers that I want to make to you that's going to make it very simple for you to get going on this and quickly start loading leads right onto your LinkedIn profile. First, if you buy today and you click right on this button, it's going to take you right to the link for buying the social selling tool, which is normally $150 a month. If you buy that today, then it's only $100 a month. This is the link where it's going to take you. So buy that today, and it's only $100 a month. So you save $50 a month, and it's not a contract. It's a month-to-month. So it's only $100 for you to get going and start visiting those profiles of your targeted audience so that they come back to you and you can start your engagement. So that's the button you press. Now, there are some other areas that I want to cover with you, and that's going to include some extra bonuses. When you buy the social selling tool, the other bonus that I'm going to offer to you is I'm going to give you a 30-minute profile coaching session. So I'm going to help you build your fire-breathing profile. And I also am working with a copywriter that if you need some assistance in physically writing it, we can work together on that. But right now, for this offer, you're going to get a 30-minute profile coaching session absolutely free. Now, I normally charge $200 an hour, so that's a $100 value. And you're also going to get, when you sign up for this social selling tool, you're going to get a video as part of the kit that shows you how to use it. You're going to get some additional tips on building your profile, how to do some great searches, how you enter in some keywords, and you'll also get some templates that are going to work for you so that you don't have to write your message all the time. And that's all included when you sign up today for the social selling tool. When you go to the link that I showed you earlier, what you're going to need to enter is your name, your address, your email, your phone number, and we have that information, and then we send the whole email out to you that includes this kit that I just described, your sign up, your password, and the video samples of profile tips and searches and templates. And then you'll be billed your $100 through PayPal. So you're not, when you click on this now, you're committing to receiving your account, and then you'll be billed directly through PayPal from my partner developer. The name of the company is SearchQuant. It's the SearchQuant selling tool, and we work together to offer this incredible social selling tool that you're going to use on LinkedIn to find your leads. So those are two offers that I'm making today. And I thought, one of the other things that I could offer you if you buy now is I'll provide to you some messaging templates. So I'll give you samples of invites so that you don't have to write your invite all the time. There's a structure to it that works. And as I mentioned before, I get 100% hit on mine. And the other is I'll send you some samples of how you get that connection to schedule an appointment with you. And those have really worked well for me too, enough so that it keeps me busy all day long getting leads to buy my products. So that's another bonus that I'm going to offer to you if you buy this today. So it's the social selling tool. It's $100 versus $150 a month. It's the coaching session and the message template. John, I really appreciate the opportunity to have presented this to everybody because it's really such a wonderful opportunity for me to work with people and provide them with a great tool. So John, I'm going to turn it over.
You did a phenomenal job. You did a phenomenal job. I really appreciate it. All right, let me switch back over the screen, and everybody write down that information there, Penny at beartoboldcoaching.com. And let me get the screen switched back over here. Penny, I'm going to put you on mute. Hold on just a second, and we're going to wrap this up. Let's see here. Bam. Okay. What a phenomenal time, Penny. I tell you what, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch the recording. I'm going to take some notes. I can't wait to start our coaching, and so we can get my profile up to date and get everything dialed in. So we talked about the inner game. Penny absolutely knocked it out of the park. I mean, a grand slam home run with the outer game, and I got to tell you, it's all about taking action at this point and doing what I call being repeatable. Back in 1991, February 1991, I met a guy named Dave Vanny. And I had always admired Dave because he had accomplished something very big in the network marketing organization I was a part of at the time. He had hit the top level and was speaking on stage in front of 12,000 people at the Arco Arena over here in Sacramento, California. And he was a big deal. It was one of those things that's like, man, if I could just have 5 minutes of that guy's time. And what ended up happening through a series of events is in February of 1996, him and I started working together one-on-one, and he became my personal mentor and coach. And one of the things that he has pounded in my head ever since we started coaching together is, you know what, John? Be repeatable. It's one thing to go out and generate leads in a week. It's one thing to go out and do it for a month. It's another thing to go out and do it for 6 months. But if you go out and take it for a solid year, you're going to have a massive business. And I never really got the gist of that until I borrowed $10,000 from my mother-in-law, and I was so ticked off of my ex-employer that I had to put my money where my mouth was at, and all of a sudden everything changed. I started majoring in the majors and not majoring in the minors. And one of the things I've discovered is most people spend a lot of time majoring in the minors and not enough time majoring in the majors. And Dave kept telling me, be repeatable. And one of the greatest stories about being repeatable I've ever heard was told by Steve Young when he was talking about this guy, a guy named Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is going to go down in history as one of the greatest wide receivers ever to play the game. And one of the things that made Jerry Rice so successful was he was repeatable. I mean, he was dogmatically repeatable. He focused all of his energy, all of his effort on mastery. He had a few routes that he ran. He spent an enormous amount of time mastering those routes, just doing them over and over and over and over again. And, you know, somebody told me at one time, if you spend 10,000 hours practicing something, you're going to become a master at it. And one of the true stories about Jerry Rice is they had just won the first Super Bowl where Steve Young was the quarterback. And this was back in the day where the Pro Bowl was the next weekend after the Super Bowl versus like it is right now where it's the weekend before. So you got to picture this. Imagine this. They just won the Super Bowl. You're the Super Bowl champion. The next week you're like the VIP at the Pro Bowl because you're the Super Bowl champions. Everybody's flying out to Hawaii. They're all getting settled in and ready to party it up. Steve Young's getting ready to hop on a plane and he discovers that, you know what, I forgot something at the practice facility. And so he goes to the practice facility to get the item out of his locker, and he noticed that somebody's out there practicing in the practice facility. And he notices it's Jerry Rice. He's out there running routes. He's practicing. He's getting ready for next year. Now, they just won the Super Bowl. If anybody had the right to go over to Hawaii and kick it back and relax and sip on a Mai Tai, it was Jerry Rice. But he didn't do that. He went there and he started practicing and practicing and practicing. He did not want to waste any time, and he wanted to make every use of all the time available. Now, he went over to the Pro Bowl, but he practiced his butt off until he went over there. He didn't have a coach there telling him what to do. He didn't have his mommy there telling him he had to go and do it. He didn't have anybody telling, come on, Jerry, you can do it. No, he did it because he had a desire to win. And what it really comes down to is you've got all the information about the inner game today. You've got all the information about the outer game today. But what are you going to do to be repeatable? And the only reason I'm talking this strong, I'm a coach. I mean, that's what I do. And I have 29 people across the United States. They're all business owners, and I coach them on how to be successful in their business. And one of the things I tell them is, you know what? Don't whine too long. Don't complain too long. If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. And so don't do that. That's why it's so important to have a coach. That's why meeting with Dave Vanny every Thursday night is so important for me, because the longest I can get off track is a week. When I meet with Mike Sastry twice a month, my business coach, the longest I can get off track is 2 weeks before Mike puts me back on track. And that's why I hire him as a coach. See, I'm a business owner. I don't have to listen to no one. But yet, I hire people to tell me what to do because I'm a human being just like every one of you. And there are days I just don't want to go do it. And so the key is to be repeatable. And how do you be repeatable in business? Well, number one, you come up with a message that you can send out, and you do what's called a marketing touch. You put the message about your business out there all the time. Having a fire-breathing profile, a rock-solid LinkedIn profile, is imperative to having a successful marketing touch system. I did a 3-hour workshop 2 Fridays ago, and I recorded a 3-hour workshop on how to build a rock-solid appointment-setting marketing touch system. If you want a copy of that, send me an email and put marketing touch in the summary section. Next is you got to set appointments on a regular basis, whether you like it or not. Next is you got to run appointments where you can share with people about your business, your product, your service, where you can give them enough information to where they can make a buying decision. And then finally, you've got to follow up. Well, John, how long do I follow up? Well, here's the deal. if they said they're interested or they showed any interest at all, you follow up, follow up, follow up until they buy or die. That's something my mentor Eric Laughlin taught me. He says, you know what? I've always been a dogmatic person about follow-up, but he's the first person I ever heard who said, you know what, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up until they buy or die, until take the interest to a conclusion of a yes or a no. And if you don't have enough business, if you don't have enough sales, then you're not running enough appointments. You're not setting, and if you don't have enough appointments to run, you're not setting enough appointments. And if you're not setting enough appointments because you're not making enough phone calls to set appointments, and if you don't have enough phone calls to make, that means you don't have enough leads. And Penny just delivered it on a silver platter on how to get unlimited leads. See, to be repeatable, it's all about who are you in this picture. Are you the tortoise or are you the hare? And if you don't know this story, go and read it, go and look it up and watch it. The rabbit is just like most human beings are. It's if I don't have a coach or a mentor holding my butt accountable, I'm definitely the rabbit. Because I've got a high drive, intensity personality and an ADD tendency, and I need somebody to keep me on track. And so the thing about the hare is I may go for a strong week, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then I'll take a break for a month. And then I wonder why I'm starting over again. But if I just do a little bit every day, consistently over time, it'll make all the difference in the world. And so Penny offered you an unbelievable offer today. $100 a month for a system that will generate you more leads than you can even get to. Not only that, but she's going to coach you one-on-one and give you the information you need to implement it and be successful. Give me a break. Tomorrow night, I'm going to go out every Saturday night, take my wife on a date night, and we're going to spend over $100 on that date night. And the food is going to get consumed, and that'll be the end of it. Whereas in this situation, this is an investment that can make you millions of dollars over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Now, let me sweeten the pot for you. I believe in Penny's product and her service and what she does so much that I'm going to give you a one-on-one sales or business coaching session with me personally. I charge $250 an hour for one-on-one coaching. Again, I'm not looking for any new coaching clients, so you can relax. So I will not be trying to sell you one-on-one coaching on that free coaching session. If you want to hire a coach, I'll make some recommendations for you. But I will spend a half hour with you, and within a half hour, I'll give you at least 2 ideas that if you actually take action and implement on, they will change your business. And so not only are you going to get Penny's coaching, you're going to get my coaching, so you're going to get, what is that, $250 in value for $100? Give me a break. Where are you going to get that kind of return? You're not. So I've had enough. I've said all I can say. The only thing I can say at this point is whether you buy today or not, you're going to pay either way. The investment is $100. But there's also a cost for not purchasing this tool and taking advantage of Penny's offer, and that could be the continued results that you're getting with your LinkedIn strategy right now. And if you're happy with it, continue to do it. If not, then make a decision and make it happen. You got nothing to risk and everything to gain. If you want to get a hold of me for any reason, go to my website, johnpyron.com. And there's always buttons on there. You can schedule a free coaching session with me. You can schedule just a quick call and we can have a quick conversation. Refer people to the site because there's always going to be new and exciting and free stuff on that site. Until we talk again, make it a great day.